It was a dark and a rainy night, perfect for a spooky sleepover with my friends. We were all huddled in my living room, surrounded by pillows and blankets, watching a horror movie marathon. The sound of thunder added to an eerie atmosphere, making us jump and scream in every jump scare. I was 13 years old, and this was my first time hosting a sleepover. My friends and I had been planning it for weeks, excited to spend the night together, telling ghost stories and playing pranks on each other. But little did we know, this sleepover would turn into a nightmare. As the night went on, we decided to take a break from the movies and play a game of truth or dare. It was my turn to choose, and I chose dare. My friend, Emily, gave me a mischievous grin and dared me to go into the basement alone and stay there for 10 minutes without turning on any lights. I hesitated at first, but the thought of being deemed a chicken by my friends pushed me to accept the challenge. I grabbed a flashlight and made my way down to the creaky stairs, my heart racing with each step. The basement was dark and musty, with the old furniture and boxes scattered around. I tried to ignore the eerie feeling creeping up my spine and focused on the ticking clock in my head, counting down the minutes. As I approached the 10-minute mark, I heard a faint whisper coming from behind me. I turned around, but saw nothing. I shook it off, thinking it was just my imagination playing tricks on me. But then, I heard it again. The same whisper, but this time, it sounded closer. "Hello?" I called out, my voice trembling. Suddenly, I felt a cold hand grab my shoulder. I screamed, turned around, only to see no one was there. I ran back up the stairs, my heart pounding in my chest. My friends were waiting for me, worried expressions on their faces. "What happened? Are you okay?" Emily asked, her voice filled with concern. I don't know. Something touched me, but there was no one there." I started, still trying to catch my breath. My friends exchanged glances, unsure of what to make of my experience. We decided to brush it off as a prank from one of us and went back to watching the movies. But the incident had put a damper on our fun, and we all felt a sense of unease in the room. As the night went on, we figured to forget about the strange occurrence in the basement and went to bed. I was sharing a room with Emily, and we both stayed up talking and giggling, trying to push away the lingering feeling of fear. But as I drifted off to sleep, I heard the same eerie whisper in my ear. I sat up in bed, my heart racing as I looked around the room. Emily was sound asleep, so it couldn't have been her. I tried to convince myself that it was just my imagination, but then I heard footsteps approaching our room. "Emily, wake up!" I whispered, shaking her arm. "What is it?" she mumbled, half asleep. "I heard someone walking towards our room," I whispered back, my voice shaking. Emily sat up and listened, and sure enough, we could hear the sound of footsteps getting closer. We both huddled under the covers, too scared to move. The footsteps stopped right before our door, and we held our breaths, waiting something to happen. But then, the doorknob started to turn, as if someone was trying to come in. We screamed and jumped out of our bed, knocking over the lamp in the process. The door swung open, but there was no one there. We ran out of the room and found our other friends in the living room, wide awake and terrified. "What happened?" they all asked at once. "We heard someone walking up and then the door opened itself," I explained, my voice trembling. We all stayed up for the rest of the night, too scared to go back to sleep. In the morning, we were all exhausted and on edge. We tried to forget about the strange occurrences from the night before and went about our day, playing games and watching movies. But as the night approached, we couldn't shake off the feeling that we were being watched. We decided to sleep in the living room, not wanting to be alone in any of the rooms. We made a fort of blankets and tried to have fun, but the atmosphere was tense and unsettling. As we were about to fall asleep, we heard a loud crash coming from the kitchen. We all jumped up, our hearts pounding with fear. We cautiously made our way to the kitchen and found that all cabinets and drawers were pulled open, with pots and pans strewn across the floor. We all frozen in fear, not knowing what to do. Suddenly, a cold breeze swept through the room, making us shiver. We heard the same eerie whisper, but this time, it was louder and more distinct. "Get out," it said. Tears welled up in my eyes as I realized that we were not alone in the house. We grabbed our things and ran out of the house, not stopping until we were safe at Emily's house. We told our parents what happened, and they called the police to investigate. The police searched the house, but they found no signs of forced entry or any explanation for the strange occurrences. They chalked it up to a possibility of a prank by one of us, but we knew deep down that it was something more. From that day on, I never hosted another sleepover, and my friends and I never spoke about that night again. But every time I think about it, I can't help but wonder if we had unleashed something supernatural that night, something that was lurking in that house, waiting to be awakened again. I learned my lesson. Sometimes it's better to leave things alone and not go looking for trouble, especially during a sleepover.